Hi, I'm Miles Roberts from Chorley Group GoEV. Now, hybrids aren't something we've covered a lot on the channel over recent years, mainly because we've been very busy with all the new electric vehicles that have been coming out. We've got something here from Nissan we think might be of interest. This is the Nissan Qashqai ePower. Nearly 50% of the UK population doesn't have access to off-street parking. And that means that they may be considering a hybrid vehicle rather than an electric vehicle as their next step. The Nissan Qashqai ePower is a different type of hybrid. It's closer to an electric vehicle. Let's take a look at how it works. So what is it that makes Nissan's ePower system different? Well, in a traditional hybrid car, a self-charging hybrid as they tend to call themselves, we've got an electric motor and we've got an engine. And the engine and the electric motor work together, so quite often it'll set off on electric mode, and then once you've got going over 20 miles an hour, the engine will kick in and it will then drive mainly on engine, with the electric motor providing a bit of extra power occasionally and trying to smooth out the gear changes. And that's the thing, a normal hybrid car has still got gears because it's relying on the engine to power the car, and engines need gears because otherwise you'd get, so you're doing 15,000 RPM in one gear and it wouldn't be able to go above 40 miles an hour. So electric motors help, they've got instant torque, instant power, they're able to give you all the drive and thrust, but they're only quite small than a normal hybrid car. Nissan's ePower system is different. So with Nissan, we've got a full-size electric motor that's capable of driving the car up to 100 miles an hour or more. And effectively that's the same sort of motor that you'd find in a Nissan Leaf or a Nissan Ariya. That motor is always driving the wheels. That's what's providing the force. The drive motor selected down here, that looks just like the one in the Nissan Leaf and the Nissan Ariya. So we've got effectively an electric car in that respect, but we've got a really small battery on this. So it's only a couple of kilowatt hours in size. And the way that that's recharged is by the engine on board acting purely as a generator. So there's no mechanical link whatsoever between the engine and the wheels. And that means it doesn't need a gearbox. So that saves a bit of weight in that respect. It also simplifies things because the engine only has one job. It doesn't have to drive the car and charge the battery, it just has to charge the battery. And it also means that the engine doesn't have to kick in as often or as fiercely as it does in a normal hybrid car. So traditionally, if you're driving a hybrid car, say from Toyota or Honda, what you tend to find is that they, when you put your foot down on the accelerator, it makes quite a loud droning noise as the engine thrashes away, trying to create enough power to A, drive the car, and B, give some power to the motor. In this, you put your foot down and it takes off electrically. It is swift, it is smooth, it's very quiet. One of the things that Nissan's done is made it so that the car actually has a smart function. It can listen to road noise, and when there's more road noise, that's when it'll bring the engine in. So if you're stationary in traffic, it will try and avoid bringing the engine in. But when you're doing, say, 30, 40 miles an hour down a roughish road like we are now, that's when it'll bring the engine in. So you don't perceive, there's no perception of the engine actually starting up. It's all very clever. It's all very Nissan. So unless you've been living in a hole for the last 20 years, Nissan's Qashqai has been one of the best-selling crossover cars in the UK all that time. In fact, it's the car that started off the crossover generation. And here it is. This is the latest iteration. You've got some fancy LED daytime running lights. It's got projector headlights. It's got big 19-inch alloys. It's a very nice, very polished product. It feels quality. Let's move around the car. Got this two-tone roof going on here, integral roof rails, nice glass panoramic roof, giving plenty of light to the interior. Around the back we've got parking sensors, we've got a round view digital cameras as well. In the boot we've got a power tailgate on this model. Got a really spacious boot with the stacking boot floor. That means you can chop and change it, and if you're only doing a couple of bags of shopping, you're able to just stack that up and stop it sliding all the way across the boot. It's a family car. It does what it needs to do very, very well. The space in the back for 3 kids, 3 adults, a couple of car seats as well. USBs in the centre console, electric windows. It's all what you'd expect, but it's all done very, very well. It feels premium, it feels quality, and it's built to last. So the drive mode selector here is very much like the one on the Nissan Ariya. So to select drive, you just squeeze the side and move it down. To put it in park, you just press the P on the top. To put it in reverse, you squeeze it and move it upwards. The drive mode selector just down here, towards us, drops it down to eco, forwards moves it back to standard, and then forward to sport. We've got e-pedal button here. That means that you can basically just take your foot off the accelerator and it applies the brakes. Brake lights come on at the back, and it uses regenerative braking and also friction brakes to slow the car down. There's an EV button. What you can do there is you can press the EV button, and so long as there's enough range in the battery, it'll try and prevent the engine from starting. So if you're, for example, outside a school or you're in a busy urban area, put EV mode on, it won't start the engine until it's absolutely run out of battery completely, and then it will start the engine if it has to. It just means that it won't be firing up, creating noise, creating emissions in those areas. We've got auto hold handbrake, electronic parking brake, and we've got Pro Pilot Park on this as well, which means that the car can park itself into parking spaces if you don't feel quite so confident. Overall, the interior is very well laid out, very intuitive. It's not all just working off a touchscreen, although this 11-inch touchscreen is a really nice feature. You have got physical buttons, which I and quite a lot of other people do like, because it means that when you're driving along you can press a button rather than having to swipe around on a screen and have your finger bounce about the place. As I said before, this panoramic roof gives loads of interior light. The displays up here can be customised and changed around, so you've got an option of normal dials, or you can switch and have a different view if you prefer. And on this model we've also got a heads-up display, displaying both satellite navigation directions, speed camera signs, and your current speed up on the dashboard very clearly ahead of you. So overall, it's a really nice package, really good quality, well thought out. With fuel costs higher than they've ever been before this year, it's good to know that the Qashqai has got a range of over 650 miles on a single tank. So at least you won't be visiting the fuel station quite as often as you would in a regular car. So what's the Qashqai ePower like to drive? Well, it's smooth. It drives very much like an electric car, which I've obviously had a lot of experience with over the last 7 or 8 years. In fact, to be honest, the lack of engine noise makes you really think it is an electric car. So in terms of the power delivery, it's got a 187 brake horsepower electric motor driving the wheels, so that feels responsive. 0 to 60 is around 7.9 seconds, which is a good couple of seconds quicker than the normal petrol Qashqai. The driving modes, you've got sport, normal or eco. We're driving in standard normal mode at the moment, and you know, it drives fine. Drive it in eco, it also drives fine. Put it in sport, it's got a little bit more responsiveness, but overall it drives really well. I suppose the main differences are, compared to a hybrid car, you haven't got those gear changes, you haven't got that variation in the power delivery, you haven't got the rattle and bang of an engine screaming its head off trying to eke out as much power as it can, because the engine that we've got in this car is purely there to charge the battery, so it's working just steady away in a fairly limited rev range. And the good thing about that is that when an engine is set to run as a generator, it can be very efficient, it can be very quiet, because it's not having to worry about creating so much torque, it just needs to work as a generator. Overall then, this is a Qashqai which, to the untrained eye, feels exactly like a normal Qashqai. It's just a little bit smoother, a little bit quieter, and delivering about 20% better fuel efficiency as a result, which is nice. I hope you found this video informative. If you'd like more information about the Qashqai ePower, click up here to see more information on our website. Click here to subscribe to our channel and see more of these videos. And to compare up against the Nissan electric Ariya, click down here. See our video that we did just a couple of weeks ago. Thank you very much for watching. Look forward to seeing you again soon.